Hello, Steady Eddie here, and today in this video I want to talk about social media. Now, social media gets a bad press. I mean, recently people have gone to prison for their comments on social media. Well, that's another subject. Britain being accused by some of turning into a Soviet state, that sort of thing. No, I don't approve of that. I don't approve of that. I mean, if briefly, I'll say that if people are inciting criminality on social media, then they deserve to go to prison. But if they're voicing an opinion, that opinion, it should be respected because freedom of speech is paramount. But we've all seen that in the news, so that's enough on that. Now, I'm quite new to social media. It was only 8 years ago when I bought a laptop um, that I started using it regularly. I went for years, hearing about Facebook and YouTube and all of this kind of stuff. And I was working so many hours in those days that I never used any of that. So I'm a comparative newcomer to social media. No, I've got two YouTube channels. This one and Steady Eddie Live, and I'm on Facebook. I mean, I still haven't cracked Twitter yet. I mean, and as for TikTok, I tried TikTok recently, and my followers are zero. I can't seem to get my head around that. So anyway, social media. I mean, it's wonderful. Once you get into it, it's wonderful. But it's saved me. It's not all bad. Saved me on two occasions that I can remember. Two memorable occasions where social media has come into its own, and it's helped me enormously. And I'll share with you those two occasions. Only two, but two memorable ones. The first one was about over 4 years ago when the lockdown was coming in. It was March 2020, and I was in Thailand. I was gonna get it. I was scheduled to get an aeroplane back to England. My return ticket, maybe beginning of April or end of March or something like that. And I'd seen on the news that this pandemic was sweeping the world, and they were cancelling flights in some countries. And and basically, I thought, well, I heard of people. I was in Pattaya at the time, and I heard of people having their flights cancelled and not being able to get home. And I thought, stranded. When you go abroad to a foreign country, people tell you all kinds of things. Armchair experts will tell you, you're going to get mugged, robbed, kidnapped, and all the rest of it. But no one ever told me that I was going to get stranded in a foreign country. I mean, that was unheard of then. So anyway, I went to the airline office in Pattaya and stood in a lengthy queue and inquired about my return journey, which was a couple of weeks ago, and could I rearrange the flight? And this was at the end of March 2020, and after standing in that lengthy queue, the Thai girl. I won't say what airline it was because defamation. Um, the Thai girl looked at a computer. She said, "Your flight's confirmed. It's on that date." I said, "Well, that's the date that I've got written down." She said, "Yeah, it's all there. It's all there. Not to worry." I thought, well, that's it then. Oh, okay, well, that's it. I spent the last couple of weeks walking along the beach and doing whatever you do in Pattaya. Comfort, my flight confirmed. She's just told me. So I got on the internet when I was back in my hotel, and basically backlash that I got from people was don't listen to her. Don't. She's telling you what you want to hear. They're going to cancel the flights, Eddie. You're likely to be stranded out there in Thailand. They're going to cancel a flight. You better, rearrange the flight, regardless of what she says. You better rearrange that flight. So, this was overwhelming because I got lots of comments from people who were urging me to, to, and then I did this, and as you do, and then a couple of days later, or maybe it was the following day, I got an email from the airline. We've cancelled your flight. Wow. So I went back and the following morning to that airline office and stood in a lengthy queue for an eternity, and and then I managed to cut a long story short, I managed to rearrange my flight. I believe it was at end of March 2020. I got the last flight out of Bangkok back to England, and I was home safely. I was home to a lockdown, an incoming lockdown. Now I was just relieved because once that flight was booked, I come across a lot of guys in Pattaya who'd been slow, slower than me to reboot their flight, and they were stranded, and they were. I mean, to be stranded in a country, and people were stranded there up to 6 months. I mean, being stranded. I mean, whoever considered that, yeah, yeah, you know, I don't want to be stranded anywhere. I mean, but I do thank the people who were urging me because. I mean that made me, as well as the cancellation. That made me think. The advice from people in the comments section would prove to be invaluable to me, and I was home safely. I know other people who were stranded in places like Thailand and the Philippines, and running out of money and having the whole life upset because of it. And I'm thankful that didn't happen to me. So that was the one time that social media in influence played an important part in saving me from oblivion. And the second time was, of course, a few months ago, in Pattaya again. I, I was healthy. I spent the first, 4 months or so traveling around Thailand, feeling healthy and enjoying my retirement. Um, and, walking everywhere every day, feeling physically fit, not a problem in the world. And then it happened. The health issue come out of the blue, and I made a couple of videos when I was. I thought it was the antivirus at first. It returned. I made a couple of videos. Usual videos. Restaurant reviews, bar reviews, that sort of stuff. Where I mentioned that I wasn't feeling very well. And I was starting to slur my words. I was having difficulty concentrating on the words that I was speaking. Um, and then I was losing balance on my right side. And I put these videos out, and there was one word that people were using: scan. So many people in the comments section were saying, "Get a scan, Eddie. Get a scan. There's something happening there. Well, it's not your usual gout. There's something happening there. You need a scan." And at 62 years of age, I'm someone who's gone through adult life. Well, my whole life without needing hospitals. I'm I never had anything wrong with me. I mean, yeah, physically fit all of these years. I mean, I'm just like I keep going. Whereas other people need hospitals. I mean, I've never needed hospitals before. So there was a stubbornness there and a complacency. Um, Scan. I've never had a scan in my life. What do I need a scan for? People said get a scan like as if they knew what that was. I don't know. What did he do with a scan? I've heard about this, but I've never had one. So my physical, I mean, my balance, I fell over in a hotel room and in a couple of bars spectacularly, and I couldn't get up off the floor. And anyway, I managed to make it to the hospital in Pattaya, and with my first attempt, they wanted 10,000 baht. I didn't carry that much money on me, uh, but yeah, you know, the following day I went there and I did have the scan, and I didn't like what I seen. I could see it clearly, and these people who were saying to me, "Get a scan, Eddie," were they so right? It was my stubbornness that I left it so long. And I could see it there on the X-ray, the CT scan, visible evidence, a dark blotch on my brain, and I was oh, I mean that night, that was on a Tuesday. I mean that night, I booked a flight back to England. I booked it for 4 days' time, so that will be the Saturday. That was Tuesday night when I booked it. I booked it for the Saturday. Um, but by then, my health had deteriorated so much that I was in a wheelchair, and they took me to the airport in a wheelchair, and they denied me boarding. So I ended up going into Thai hospital, for almost 6 weeks after that. Um, but if I had to listen to these people in the comments section earlier, I wouldn't have needed I wouldn't have needed that Thai hospital. I wouldn't have needed the insurance policy because what I'd done, if I'd have listened to them when they first said get a scan, I would have had the scan there and then, maybe a week earlier, and I would have been physically, I would have booked the flight, and I would have been physically okay to get on that flight. So I wouldn't have needed the time. But, that was my stubbornness, my complacency, because I got to 62 years of age without a medical issue. And, your refusal to accept that there's anything wrong with you. Um, so that was all, the comment section. I get hundreds of comments on my videos, and I can't reply to, especially in my current state. I can't reply to them all, but I do read them all, and so keep your comments coming. I do read them all. But that flight issue, during the lockdowns, and the medical issue, recently, that was two times where my comments section, my subscribers really come into their own and were very, very helpful to me. But it was me that didn't listen to them, because, and the message is that if you're abroad, you're in a foreign country, you can't did it like I did it on both occasions. If you see something that's likely to happen, you have to act on it. If I'd have acted sooner with the scan, I would have been back in England. I would have bypassed the Thai hospital. I would have been back in England, but my physical health had declined because by then, and I wasn't allowed on the airplane. So out comes the insurance policies. But social media, my comments section, I do thank it. I've got some wonderful subscribers, and you are only too helpful. And I can, I ask them anything, and on my live streams we have discussions. It's not just about me. We often have discussions about things that are helpful to other people. So Steady Eddie Live, if you're not subscribed to that one, check it out. But social media is not a villain. I mean, for all people say about it, I mean, people go into prison for social media comments. I mean, that's ridiculous. That is. That's so. It was so. Big Brother, isn't it? But social media. I'm a newcomer. Don't forget, social media is great, and like the subscribers is great. But they're the two times that on my comment section has really helped me out. Like I say, if you see a problem, don't dither done it. Yeah, your life may depend on it. Okay. So anyway, I'll end this vlog here, and and I'll be back soon. Anyway, have a good day.